June 23rd, 2016. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 102 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, I gotta say, your handicapping of the ponies leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, it hasn't worked out too well. You know, at some point, I'm actually going to have to pick up a racing form and look at some of the
You think maybe that's the way to do it?
times and, distances.
Because the horse with the most yellow did not work out very well, and the horse with the most unique letters in its name did not work out very well. Of course, when it comes to the Belmont, nobody really could have picked the way that turned out.
I'd like to see the guy that picked that.
Yeah, it's funny, though, because the horse that you did pick with all the letters, Sudden Breaking News, was actually the number 2 favorite.
Right.
You know, a lot of people were and it didn't even come in the money. Neither did Exaggerator,
Exaggerator was like 8?
Yeah, it was something like that. So, well, you've got until the Breeders' Cup, which is in November, to come up with some kind of legitimate handicapping scheme.
Now, where is the Breeders' Cup this year?
It's at Santa Anita. It's going to be the beginning of November. It's at Santa Anita this year.
So when's it at Del Mar?
Next year, 2017.
Okay, I thought it was coming up. Yeah, good. Well, when that comes, I really got to have a foolproof system because we're going to have to list all the winners, so everyone knows exactly what to bet.
We should probably make a point to go to that too.
Yeah,
since it's going to be here, it's not that often it's close by.
No,
so
and it'll be crowded, but
of course, it's going to be hard to get in.
It's something we can get tickets to.
Yeah, right? let's shoot for that. Okay, but this you've got till November. I want to see at least something.
Okay.
Before the Breeders' Cup this year.
Very good. I'll work on it.
All right.
I'll just go down and get Ike's picks.
Oh, yeah, just go into the ones that sell out front.
Just sell Ike's picks. That's the best thing to do.
That's right.
They know what they're doing.
You got all circled. Yeah, if they pick enough horses in a day, a couple of them will come in and they'll highlight it.
And if you can't trust Ike, who are you going to trust?
Well, here's some more bad news. It seems like that's how we start out the shows these days. We get the bad news out of the way so we can kind of move on. Anyway, Todd Goddess confirmed, we heard this rumor was going to happen, but he confirmed that the free buy bets are no longer being offered at Downtown Grand. I'm going to read what he wrote here on Facebook. Free buy bet promotion at Downtown Grand has ended. The dealers liked it and wanted it to stay, but the bosses pulled the plug. Players were taking up spots, not betting anything else. So who knows to what degree that was happening? And if it really was an issue, I can't blame them. But
no, but if it happened enough, if you had 5 players taking up spots and not betting anything else, just buying the 4 and 10 and maybe not even every roll or every shooter.
Right, that's true.
Or buying it once and when it hit, pulling it down.
Yeah, and then waiting for the next shoot or something. That could have been what was happening.
That would be a problem with the casino because they're losing money. And
that's why it's too bad it didn't spread. If it had spread all the way downtown, then everybody has it. Yeah, it's just
you might have one person doing that at a table.
Yeah, it's like the free odds bet, right? They're not losing any money on it. They're not necessarily winning any money on it. But if everybody's doing it,
they are going to win money.
Yeah, in the long run, even though it's a no house edge, they've got deeper pockets. So in the long run,
exactly, they've got deeper pockets.
Yeah. Well, we probably won't go back there, and it's not out of protest or anything.
No.
It's just that was the only reason we did go there.
Right, and there's nothing special about that place compared to other places we can go that are more convenient.
Yes, exactly. So it's too bad. We probably won't be hitting the Downtown Grand anytime soon. But anyway, we kind of figured it probably wouldn't last forever. And it did last a little longer than we thought because some reports were it was going to end at the end of March. And, it did go through the end of May.
Longer than they thought.
Maybe, yes.
They probably intended it to end after a month.
Yeah, that could be. And so, yeah. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, when you're going to buy something through Amazon, go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. That way, when you make a purchase, we get a little kickback that helps cover the costs of hosting the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You'll pay the same price just like normal.
So we're through with the bad news now? We can move on to the good?
I think that's it. That's it. Let's move on to our voicemail hotline. Remember, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS. Cheers.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. Did I cut you off, Mike? Were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say out with the bad, in with the good.
Oh, okay. That's very good. We have a saying that maybe if we meet you at VIMF, we'll tell you what the real saying is. It's not really appropriate for the show, and it doesn't make any sense, and it's stupid. But we'll tell you what it is.
It's funny.
And it's good for gambling. It applies to gambling. We'll have to explain how it does because we'll tell it to you and you think about it. Anyway, first call from Uncle Jackie.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Uncle Jackie calling from Massachusetts. And I'm hoping you guys can help me with a couple of gambling things I could use some coaching through. The first is, like you folks, I love playing craps, but the issue I could use some coaching on is that I like to drift between light side and dark side and frequently find myself kicking myself when the table moves the wrong way against me. So how do you deal with switching between, light side, dark side? And is it better to just stick with one, for a whole session? And that way maybe I kick myself less when the table moves against me and I lose money. And my second question revolves around losing money in that I've got a crew of 4 guys that I gamble with. And over the last 18 months, I'm on a tremendous losing streak. And the guys that I'm playing with, are at different levels of, being in the green or breaking even or whatever. And I'm clearly the dog of the group. And fortunately, I have the income to support it. So it's not like I'm losing, the mortgage money or anything. It's just more, it's kind of depressing to frequently come up empty-handed. And again, some of that's at crap switching back and forth, but 80% of it is at blackjack. And I'm playing perfect blackjack according to the awesome rules that we have down here at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, which I know you've heard about. So I'm playing perfectly well, and 80% of my losses are probably coming from blackjack. So how do you get through these bad beats, keep your chin up, and keep battling? Thanks for your time, guys. Bye now.
Okay, so let's talk about, he's talking about playing pass versus don't pass, maybe switching back and forth at the craps table. Let's talk about that first. So mathematically, it really doesn't matter if you stick with one for a whole session or you switch back and forth. Well, don't pass. There's a slightly less house edge, but I mean, in the short run, it really doesn't matter. Right. What it comes down to is how will it affect you emotionally?
Right. And that's the crux of it.
Yeah.
And that's why, and we differ a little on this, but that's why I cannot do it. I cannot switch back and forth.
No.
It drives me insane.
And you don't see me do that very often. If I'm going to play don't pass, I go up to a table and I stick with it. Every once in a while, I'll switch.
Do that's good is you'll be playing pass on a table and we might be getting beat like crazy.
Yeah.
You'll go to another table to play the don't pass.
Yes.
You don't switch at that table.
Yeah.
Which is good because if all of a sudden a good roll happens on that table, you're killing yourself thinking, oh my God, why did I switch back?
Right.
When you go to another table, it's almost like starting over, if you will. And so when you're there at that new table, if that table is good and you're on the don't, you feel like, well, I just made a bad decision. You're not kicking yourself quite as much.
Not quite as much. Now, you could be at a table where you're switching back and forth and you're just doing it perfectly.
Right.
And it's great. But when you're on that table and every decision is wrong, you feel so much worse than how good you feel when you're calling all the shots correctly.
Right.
So it just comes down to emotion.
Right. And I think for me personally, my attitude about the game and everything, it's better for me just to decide, okay, I'm going to play the pass line, and I just play the pass line, and I take my losses and I take my wins.
Yep.
And I'm real happy when I win, and I try not to get terribly disappointed when I lose because that's going to happen. And I just have to, in my mind, I think, well, next time I'll get it back.
Yeah. Pick one and stick with it. Again, mathematically, it really doesn't matter. Again, don't pass has a lower house edge, but in the short run, it's not that big. Pick one and stick to it. Emotionally, it'll be better for you.
I like the camaraderie of being on the pass line with everybody.
Yeah, right.
Because when I played the don't pass, but I just don't get as much fun out of it.
No.
So if you're not there to have fun, if you're there, winning is your only criteria for being there.
Well, and there are plenty of don't players who say they do have fun, even though they're quiet, even though they're quietly collecting their winnings. It's fun for them because everybody else is losing, and they're kind of grinning to themselves like,
I made the right move.
Right.
See, I just assume with the guy next to me that I don't even know, I just assume him and I both win, and we're high-fiving each other. And not like, he's losing and I'm winning and I'm trying to be calm, but inside I'm thinking, you idiot, why aren't you playing like me?
Or even if you're all losing, kind of commiserate. There's still that social bonding,
Right.
yeah,
right.
Yeah. So he's talking about how he deals with losing, especially when all his friends are winning.
Right.
And this is good timing because we got a Twitter message from our pal Ed in New York. He basically said the same thing. Have you ever thought about talking about big losses? How you deal with it and what happens?
Because we've both been there.
Sure.
We've both been on when we've been on streaks. We've been on streaks where we can't lose. We go like a month and we haven't lost. And then we've been like, 2 months when, God, how come we can't win?
I know, yeah.
How can this be this bad,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Well, I guess one thing I would say is, and I've done this myself, if it's a really bad loss, if it really, one that hurts, just stay away for a good chunk of time. I mean, you're going to think about it.
Take a week off. We take a week off, and then we do feel better when we go back.
That is, people might be laughing, but for us, that is significant because every week we go out there. So if we get really hammered, it's like, you know what? Let's skip next week. I think we need that.
When we skip a week, it's like 2 weeks, in between. Because it's like the week to the skip and the week after the skip.
Yeah.
And by the end of that 2 weeks, I pretty much forgot about the bad beat. And, I'm ready to play again.
Yeah.
And you've recovered a little financially. So
yes,
you don't,
right.
So your gambling kitty that you have, has time to recover a little bit. And
I know it's hard, and poker is kind of a good example. I've gone on some long streaks in poker where I'm just lose.
Right.
And I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong? Because at least with poker, it's not all chance, right? So it's
There's
like,
some skill
is there
involved
something
there.
wrong with my play? And, eventually the cold streak goes away and you come back and you feel like you're, king of the world when it comes to playing poker. I think another good thing to do is when you're really down, think about other times that you've been down and then times when you've come back from that. It's like, oh man, this was devastating.
Right.
But remember, a few months ago when everything was going great, that's going to come around again eventually.
Right. And my dad always reminds us when we're playing about that one time. Remember, I was down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I went and got some more money. And he's like, what are you doing? And then we got it all back and we all won for the night.
Yeah.
It was like a mega huge comeback.
Yeah.
And my dad always said, remember that time?
He remembers.
Not that you should actually
No, you should
do
not
that.
chase.
Right.
You should
I'm not saying
chase
anybody
losses
to,
like that.
to do that. But when you did do it, I try and use that as a reference. Like when I lose, like, okay, I mean, maybe not tonight, but at some point I'm getting that back.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like waves. It comes and goes. And last year, Mike, remember, we were on a streak where it was just terrible. Remember last year, it seemed like it was the whole year.
Right.
And this year it's been up and down. We have good weeks and bad. I mean, it's kind of
we've
level.
Actually been up more than down.
I have too. Yeah.
And it's been good actually. And it's weird, but it's not just gambling. Everything has that, right? In my bowling league, I'll go like 3 weeks and not be able to bowl worth crap.
Yeah.
And then the 2 weeks after that, I'm bowling like the best of my life. I don't know why that is. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, it's not like you practiced more.
No, I didn't practice more. Nothing. I didn't change anything. It's just, I don't know. You get a few breaks here and there.
Yeah.
And you see it in sports all the time.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Winning begets winning. The team gets on a streak and all of a sudden they're a good team.
Yeah, there's
right?
some sort of, undefinable thing that's going on, yeah.
And sometimes that seems like that follows you around in gambling.
Sure, we're not talking about some, mystical luck or anything. It's just that, these streaks do happen. You don't know about them till afterwards, but they do happen.
Right, and it's weird, like when you're playing blackjack and you're using perfect basic strategy, you think, okay, if I'm playing that every week, it's going to level out. But just know you can go forever and lose. It's like red coming up 32 times in a row on a roulette table.
Yeah. I don't know if we've given any good advice here because you kind of have to go through it and decide how to deal with it.
Right.
But really, I think as a gambler, you just have to accept that these streaks come. Even excellent poker players who have an edge, albeit a small one, but an edge over other players, go through these horrendous losing streaks.
Right.
Everybody has done it.
Well, except Phil Hellmuth. I don't think he's ever lost.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think. Maybe you're right.
Well, anyway,
you threw me off because I was thinking, oh, he hasn't? Oh, that's good. Oh.
You do have to somehow in your mind accept losses.
Yeah.
You've heard me say this a lot to people. If you cannot accept losses, you have no reason to be at the craps table, the blackjack table, the poker table.
Yeah.
Because if you're the kind of person that can't take a loss, and we know people like that, that's not a good place for you.
No.
Because you're going to have a miserable life.
Yeah. I don't know where I heard this originally, but I heard this quote somewhere. For a gambler, the best thing is winning. The second best thing is losing.
Correct.
You know, right?
Yeah,
and that's
right.
kind of the way you have to look at it. Right.
Yeah.
So-
Right. Yeah. And that's probably how we look at it. I mean, people have asked me before, well, doesn't that really bug you when you lost? No, because I know that I'm going to be
that's
there
part of it.
next time. And I, you know that going in, you know, because you're kidding yourself if you think you win every time.
Yep.
I know somebody who thinks they win every time.
It's a patient of yours that tells you he wins every time,
tells
doesn't
me
he?
He wins every week.
On the slots.
He hasn't lost in 2 years on slot machines, and he plays every week. once a
Wow.
week.
Now that's a streak.
Yeah, that's a streak. That's a streak of you know what.
All right. Let's move on to another call from Ethan.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Ethan from Virginia. I'm a first-time caller and was recently introduced to your show. Since then, I've gone back and listened to quite a few of your episodes, and I've learned a lot. And I really want to say thank you guys and keep up the great work. I really enjoy hearing all your stories about playing craps. I also wanted to give you a quick trip report from my Vegas trip last weekend. We were out there Saturday night through Tuesday and stayed at New York on a comp. I played a good bit of craps on this trip, which was new for me. Was playing pass line, full odds, and 2 come bets with the occasional fire bet. And when I was up, I played a few hard ways and world bets for Dr. Mike. The first table we played at was at Paris. The dealers were fine, and we made a little bit of money. They ended up raising the table minimums, so we ended up coloring up and moving casinos. After the first day, we did end up down. However, Sunday morning, woke up, we went downtown, ate brunch at Dupar's, and then headed over to the craps table at Golden Gate per your all's rave reviews, and it did not disappoint. The dealers were very friendly. The stick man was awesome, yelling out the numbers, cheering on the shooter. Overall, just a fantastic player experience. And to add to it, I had one of my best craps rolls ever, which is, to be fair, isn't saying much because I've only played the game for a short while. But I made 5 points and got to toss the dice 20 to 25 times before I sevened out.
That's good no matter what.
Ended up cashing out way up and walked around to some of the other downtown casinos like the D before heading back to the Strip, where me and my buddy did our blackjack challenge. Now, this is something that we came up with. The rules were you had to buy in with $100 and play for 15 minutes. If you ran out of money, you could stop, or if you doubled up, you could stop. We did this at the 24 of the 27 main Strip casinos. The only ones we left out were Circus, SLS, and Stratosphere, just because they weren't really realistic to walk to. The net, after it was all said and done, we ended up breaking just about even. I ended up $47 up, proving the blackjack is really a 50-50 game. Did notice quite a few people out there don't play basic strategy, and over the probably 500 hands of blackjack we played, I think it probably only affected us about 10 times or so. Whereas it did help us about 2 times as we were keeping track and watching what was going on the tables. Again, thanks again for the great show and the stories and the advice that you all give new players. Keep up the great work. Have a great one. Bye.
I love this blackjack challenge.
Yeah,
what a great way to stretch your gambling dollars.
Sure.
And I know you did something like this with your friend.
Yeah, Doug Morgan.
Yeah, and you've talked about it on the show before.
Yeah.
But I love this because it's like, okay, here we are at a new casino. You buy in for $100. If you lose it, you're done.
Yeah.
If you double it, you're done. Or after 15 minutes, you're done. You go to the next place. That's great.
Doug and I did that with craps.
Yes.
And it worked out so great. Now, could have gone the other way.
Well, sure, you could lose, but
we seemed like every casino we'd always leave ahead. I mean, sometimes we double it. Sometimes it was just, a few bucks ahead, but we were ahead and we just went casino to casino.
I love that. It's great when you have a place like Vegas to do it, as opposed to a local casino where you can't really go to different casinos. But it's great because you take a step back. Any emotional distress that may have happened on the last game, you kind of work through that walking to the next casino, just buying for the next 100 and play it. I love that. That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
If you win, you're walking fast to the next place. If you lose, you're still walking fast. You're just cussing the whole way.
That's right. You're going to try to get your money back, but it clears your head. I love that. Right? You're not going to chase that money like you might if you just angrily, pulled out another 100 at the same table.
Stay there and then do something stupid that you normally wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
You know what I liked about this call too is that when they raised the limits, they colored up and went somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. In Vegas, you can do that.
Yes. Yeah, you
Right.
can.
I mean, you can go to another table in the same casino,
Mm-hmm.
or you can go to another casino, especially if you're downtown. I mean, it's as easy as walking out the door.
It's funny. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but it seems like in the olden days, casinos were more likely to grandfather you in at a table.
Oh, very
so if it
much
was a
so.
$5 table and they raised it to 10, it's like, okay, everybody who's already here, you can continue to bet 5.
Right,
It
until
seemed
you
like
leave.
that happened a lot more. I know it still happens a little bit, but not nearly as much. Usually it's like, all right, next shooter, we're going up to $25. They warn you, and then
Right.
you either play at that level
but I
or
think
leave.
some of that is because when new people walk up, it's always kind of an issue. Why does he get to play 5?
That's true,
And trying
yeah.
to explain to him,
Yeah.
well, he was here and he's grandfathered in.
Yeah, no, that is
People
true.
don't like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think they just decided it's easier not to piss anyone off coming up.
That's a good point.
Just say, oh, it's going to be this, and take it or leave it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. All right, well, let's talk about a relatively new carnival game. It's called Double Draw Poker. It is a table game that you'll find in some casinos now. It's a poker-based carnival game where players are not playing against the dealer or against each other. The goal is to end up with a poker hand of 2 pair or better, and you get to draw twice to try to accomplish that. Okay, so let's talk about it. The game uses a standard 52 card deck plus 2 jokers for a total of 54 cards. The jokers can be used as aces or to complete a straight, a flush, or a straight flush. Kind of like the joker in Pai Gow poker.
Yeah,
right.
Pai Gow poker.
But there are 2 jokers in this
Okay,
game. Yeah,
all right.
that's right. This is a pretty fun game. I actually was able to play the demo online. So let's talk about it. First off, before the cards are dealt, you make an ante-wager and a bonus wager of equal amounts. It's interesting. There's no side bet in this game. I guess probably because you're not playing against the dealer. Because usually those side bets are like,
You have to beat something the dealer has.
yeah, or no, you just like a side bet is you just have to have a certain thing in your hand and it doesn't matter what the dealer has. That way, if the dealer beats you, you could still win on the side bet.
Right.
Right. But anyway, this game doesn't have any side bets. You just, before the cards are dealt, you make an ante-wager and a bonus wager, and they have to be the same amount. And then you receive 5 cards. So you take a look at your cards, and you can decide if you just immediately want to fold. Again, you're trying to make 2 pair or better. You can just fold right away, or you can play. If you fold, you just lose the ante and bonus wagers, and the game is over for you. If you decide to play, you have to make an additional wager equal to the ante bet. This is it's called your first draw wager. So you put that out there.
So you're increasing your bet because you're going to draw some cards.
Right, exactly. So let's say you started with $5 each on the ante and the bonus. You want to draw cards, so now you put out an additional $5 on this first draw wager.
Okay.
At this point, you can draw up to 3 cards.
So 1, 2, or 3 cards.
Or 0.
Or 0.
If you already have your hand,
Yeah,
you were
if you
dealt
have
like
that hand.
a royal flush or something. You
Right.
don't want to draw any.
Full house.
So anything 0 to 3 cards. Again, that is you just discard whatever cards you want to get rid of, and then the dealer replaces those cards. If you get rid of 2, he gives you 2 new ones. After this draw, you look at your cards, and once again, you can fold or play. So if you fold at this point, you lose your ante, your bonus, and your first draw wager, and the game is over for you.
Okay.
If you decide to play, you need to make an additional final wager. This is called your second draw wager. Again, the same amount.
Equal to your...
Same amount as the ante wager. And then at this point, you can draw 0 or 1 card.
Oh.
So you can't draw 3 anymore.
So
you
it's
can
not like you got 3 crappy cards, you want 3 more.
No, you can only get rid of 1 at this point.
Okay.
And then basically the game is over. If your final hand is 2 pair or better, you win. If it's not, you lose all 4 of your bets. Okay, so it has to be 2 pair or better. Okay, how does it pay? If you win, your ante wager and both your draw wagers pay even money.
Okay.
So 3 of your wagers,
3 of your 4 bets are even money.
even money. Okay. The only bet that pays at odds is the bonus wager. That's one of the wagers you had to make before the cards were dealt, right? You made the ante and the bonus. Right. The bonus pays at odds. Now, if you have exactly 2 pair, that bet is just a push.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If you have 3 of a kind, it's even money. A straight is 2 to 1, a flush is 3 to 1, and it increases all the way up to 5 of a kind. Remember, they're jokers that can act as aces, so you could conceivably get 5 aces.
Right.
And 5 aces pays 500 to 1.
That's the only 5 of a kind you can get.
That's the only 5 of a kind you
so
can get.
why put 5 of a kind in there? Just what?
Well, yeah,
5
you'll see the
aces.
chart. It only says 5 of a kind, but it could only be 5 aces correctly.
right.
Yes. So, again, 4 wagers altogether. When you see the minimum posted at the table, multiply that by 4.
Right.
So if it's a $5 table, you're going to be playing $20 a hand if you go all the way to the end.
Right. Well, $10 table would be really
It'd be
expensive.
$40. So,
$40
yeah.
a hand.
Yeah.
It seems to me now, before you tell me, because I know you're going to tell me what the house edge on this is.
Okay,
right?
yes.
I'm going to say it's pretty high.
It is high. For a carnival game, it is high.
It would have to be because on that bonus bet, you're pushing with 2 pair.
Yes.
So you deal me 5 cards. If I'm lucky enough to get 2 pair on the 5 cards you deal me, I know I'm already going to win.
Yes.
But chances are I'm only going to win even money on all of them because I'm going to be drawing 1 card twice, hoping to get a full house.
Yes, right.
Right?
Yes, you're going to get even money on everything. You're right, except that bonus, which is just a push.
Right.
Yes.
It'd be a push for, as far as the bonus if I'm dealt 2 pair. My bonus is either going to be a push or I'm going to have a full house, which pays 5 to 1.
Well, those aren't your only 2 choices, but
Well, what else could I end up
oh, I
with?
see. I'm sorry. Yes, if you're, I misunderstood. If you're dealt 2 pair,
If I'm
it's
dealt-
either going to be a push or it's going to be a full house five. I got you.
And
Yes,
most likely it's going to be a push.
yes,
right?
correct.
So,
correct.
because you've already used 2 of the cards up that you need to get.
I got you. Yes, yes,
So-
that's true.
The house edge has to be huge just based on that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to push that.
You see this in a lot of carnival games where there's some bet out there that is a push if you just barely win.
Right.
Like you beat the dealer or whatever.
Right.
They're just a push and they only pay if you have a really good hand. Yeah, that's definitely a big part of where the house
that's
edge
gotta
comes in.
Make a
yeah.
huge house difference.
Yeah, depending on your definition of house edge, it could be like 6% on this
Okay.
game. So it can be pretty high. No, it's true. Now, as far as a basic strategy goes, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because it actually can be quite complicated, almost like a basic strategy for a video poker game. But I will post a link to the Wizard of Odds page so people can take a look at the full basic strategy. But usually you're not going to fold before the initial draw. Usually you have something like a pair or even 2 suited connectors,
Right.
something like that.
Yeah,
that's worth
3 suited
drawing to.
connectors would be worth drawing to, right?
However, when you get to that second draw, remember, 1 is the most you can draw, right? So there, you might be in a situation, well, I can't draw 1 card and make 2 pairs, so I'm folding.
Right.
And so I think the game is kind of unique here too, because usually on these games where you're increasing your wager as you go further into the game, usually when you get towards the end, it's like, well, I've got so much money out there, I might as well call. But in this situation, it's like, well, I can't make a winning hand.
Right.
I have to
You
fold.
have to fold.
Right. So.
Well, now, what's the rule on this? And you may not know the answer to this. Can you see other people's cards?
No. Now, that's
Because
the kind of, yes, that would be
if I
huge.
needed a 2 and I saw the guy next to me had a pair of 2s, I'm like, okay, I can't.
Yes,
I'm not
no,
gonna
you
win.
cannot look at other people's hands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
there
a
must be
that's
no
a pretty big
talk.
deal in this game. Well, yes, you should not be giving or getting information about your cards or other people's cards. Yes,
I wonder
that
how
is
a
big.
casino handles that. If you and I are sitting there and you're like, oh, come on, 2.
You probably
As they're dealing, and I'm next to you and I'm thinking, well, I need a 2 too.
Yeah,
So-
it depends on the casino, but they really should probably be saying, I'm sorry, you can't say that. Give you a warning or something.
Yeah,
and then,
you can't. There's no
yeah,
chatter.
because that could be a pretty huge advantage. Yeah, that's true. So again, I will post to the Wizard of Odds page so people can look at the basic strategy. Oh, and I'll also include a link to the playable demo of the game that I was playing today. And I thought, this is pretty fun. You do need to get those big hands every once in a while.
Well, of course.
with
any carnival game,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's
Yes.
the whole thing.
Yes. Now, where can you play this? It is in several casinos. In Las Vegas, they've got it at the Cromwell and Monte Carlo. It's at Dover Downs in Delaware. It's at Isle of Capri in Missouri, and it's at Shoshone Rose in Wyoming. So it's kind of making the rounds. And again, relatively high house edge for a carnival game, but I thought it was pretty fun.
I think we've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. We need to come up with a game.
Well, we could. It's not, it's competitive. Let me
Yeah.
say this,
Oh,
right?
yeah, right.
You,
Yeah. Oh, of
you have to
course.
have some initial
But
investment.
somebody thought of this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my advice to listeners out there, if you're, Todd, for instance, come up with one of these games. There's got to be some money in this licensing.
Oh, sure. I mean, the thing is, it takes a lot of your time. You've got to get somebody to basically buy it or sponsor it, and there's no guarantee that it'll ever show up in a casino.
Right. Or that it'll be fun enough that people want to play.
Exactly.
We all have our own idea of fun.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, whoever invented this, it sounds like a good game.
Yeah, I think so.
It's interesting enough.
Yep.
A lot of them are poker based.
That's the other thing. I would love to come up with a game that's really different.
Right.
That's not poker based and it's not blackjack based. It's something else, with cards. At the same time, though, you introduce something like that to the public and they're like, well, what? I don't understand. At least with poker and blackjack, there are these built-in ideas of how the games are supposed to be played.
Right. Well, me, you, and Paul sit down. And this is what we'll do.
Paul?
Yeah, this is why. Because you'll figure out the math of it and everything and make it so that a casino can win money on it, to be playable.
All right.
Paul will come up with a concept because he's good at coming up with concepts like that.
All right, I'll give you that. All right.
And I'll come up with the goofiness, the one thing that makes it so ridiculous that it's actually fun.
How about you come up with the investment money?
I can do
the
that
seed.
too.
I think that's what we need you for.
I can do that too.
And that's going to do it for this episode. Kind of a short episode.
Yeah, kind of a short episode.
Yeah.
Well, we had graduations.
Oh, you did, I guess.
No, not really. But
my kids didn't graduate. Yeah,
I've
got another year.
You got more school to go.
But anyway, thanks for listening. And thanks for a PayPal donation from Zach, his recurring monthly donation. That amount was determined by a roll of the dice at Dr. Mike's office. Also, thank you to listeners Nick and Michelle. They sent us a sports wager. They sent us remember, we were talking on the last episode about the over-under on Chargers wins for this upcoming season.
Yep.
And it turns out the over-under is 7.
Right.
And Nick and Michelle sent us a wager for the over on the Charger wins for this season.
Which I think is a winner.
Okay.
I'm looking at the schedule and I'm thinking, I think that's doable.
Okay.
I mean, it's football, so who knows? I also, just as a side note, saw today where the Raiders are 7.5.
Really higher. Well, I guess that, yeah.
Well, yeah, I think they're a little
No,
better.
you're
than
right.
Chargers,
It makes sense. Yeah.
They've got a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But I think that's an over bet too.
I'll tell you what, Mike. The reason I'm scared, number one, I'm pessimistic about the Chargers all the time anyway.
Right.
Number two, your track record, my friend. I mean, you come
over-unders?
Just on anything. You come on the show and you claim something, and it's sometimes within, before the next show, you are proven so wrong. I mean, it's so drastically wrong.
Right, I'm going to say over for the Chargers and Raiders.
Okay,
that's what I would bet. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. I'm just saying that's what I would bet.
All right. Well, I hope it happens too, because we got this wager from Nick and Michelle. So,
and I'm actually rooting against the Raiders.
Well, of course,
but I want them to win 8 games.
I know we have Raiders fans out there, and of course we do, and they know. If you're a Raiders fan, you know what this rivalry is like. Right, so I'm sure you don't mind when we say we don't like the Raiders, because I'm sure you hate the Chargers as much as we hate the Raiders. So
my two favorite teams are the Chargers and whoever's playing the Raiders.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the Raider fans say the same thing about the Chargers.
Yep. It's funny because when I was in college, my roommate, huge Raiders fan, and I'll tell you, we were watching a Monday night game once. And the Chargers had a 21-0 lead at halftime. So you may remember this game.
I remember
this is like in the early 80s, right?
Yeah,
so
I'm
prancing around the dorm room. Woo! I'm teasing him. Yeah, the Chargers lost 24-21.
Yep.
And oh my gosh, I was miserable. Of course, he let me have it.
That was the days of, I think Ted Hendricks was linebacker for the Raiders. They were good. I got to admire the Raiders, though. They had a lot of great players, and I loved a lot of their players, but I hated them still.
I know.
It's ever since the Holy Roller.
Oh, I know. Ben Davidson was actually friends with my parents.
Right.
Ben Davidson.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how to come to terms with that.
It scarred you for life, I think.
Hey, one more thing, too. There's a new podcast. It's called Cousin Vito's Podcast. It's a new gambling podcast from Cousin Vito, who has called into our show in the past. He's quite a character on this show. He's got a great personality. He's very entertaining to listen to. Cousin Vito, I don't think you're on iTunes yet. I know he wasn't before. He was saying it was before iTunes. You got to get on iTunes, Cousin Vito, because whether you love or hate Apple, iTunes is a podcaster's friend. That's where a lot of the downloads come from, or through iTunes. So eventually, I'm sure he'll get onto iTunes. But for now, if you want to hear Cousin Vito's podcast, go to cousinvitoscasino.com. That's all one word, cousinvitoscasino.com. He has 3 episodes up so far, so enjoy
good.
that. It's a gambling episode.
I haven't listened.
Yeah, and I probably forgot to tell you about it
Yeah.
when I first heard about it because, again, it wasn't on iTunes. So, if you want to download it to your phone, you got to go through different means. But yeah.
Right. Now, so what's his genre? What's his thing?
It's gambling. So yeah, he talks about games and different kind of gambling. Yeah, right. So he's on the East Coast, so he's familiar with the casinos over there. Yeah,
right. Very
yeah,
good.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program to search through all the raw American TV data. Just go to our webpage, youcanbetonthat.com, and click on the link at the top that says TV listings. And, if you go to those TV listings, a lot of times I'll have in there movies, like, Runner, and maybe you'll see that in the listings every week. But I do highlight all the news shows in green. So if you just want to go to the page real quick and it's, I don't care about a movie, that's 20 years old that's gambling related, just look for the red highlights and that'll show you all the news shows that are coming
red
up.
Red or green? You said green before.
Did I say red?
You said
green. It's green.
Yeah.
It's
You're
green.
highlighting in green.
God, thank God we don't do this podcast just by, I do it alone or you do it alone.
I'm paying attention, which is so unusual because that never happens.
It's highlighted in green. Go to the webpage for the TV listings every Wednesday. Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat. We tweet when we're heading to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review on us. When you do, it helps us get new listeners. All right, Mike, take us to the hour mark.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you, we got a great email from a listener, and I don't remember his name. I'm sorry about that. But he was talking about Father's Day.
Oh, yes.
I hope everyone out there had a good Father's Day, as did Mother's Day. We probably neglected to mention that.
We probably did.
Yeah, I apologize for that. But anyway, he was saying how, my dad goes to the casino with us, and he still goes every Friday night. He's still, we could probably fill up tons of stories about him.
Oh, I know.
That we
I
just
know.
leave out because there's just no time.
And every Friday night on the drive home, he swears he's never going back.
Never going back. Never going back. 2 weeks ago, he said he was never going back. He was so mad. He was so disgusted how quickly his money went.
Yeah.
And then that Friday night, Mark and I went without him.
The following Friday.
The following Friday.
Yeah.
We went without him, and I didn't even call him.
Yeah, so he didn't even know.
He said, he told me, don't tempt me. Don't even call me. No, he was so mad. My mom said he talked for like 3 days. Why didn't I call him? What was wrong? Blah, blah, blah. So we lied and told him we didn't go.
Yeah.
but he was so mad. And so the next week, he's raring to go, and he actually won. And so on Father's Day, it was the Saturday before Father's Day, he was losing, and then I gave him a bunch of money. He was able to take that money and get all his money back.
Yes.
And then he kept all the money I gave him as a Father's Day
gift. Father's Day gift. Nice.
Yeah. So he got all this money. He was in good. So he's raring and ready to go.
Okay, good.
But the reason I brought this up is because it is true. Like the listener pointed out, you form some fond memories with your family.
Mm-hmm.
We have great memories with your grandfather.
Yeah, because my dad does not gamble. He's not interested at all.
No,
but my grandfather loved going to Vegas.
And we have plenty of good memories of going to Vegas with him.
Yep.
My dad goes. My mom goes. Everyone in my family goes. But anyway, I came home and Saturday, late afternoon, early evening. My brother, my mother, and my dad stayed till late Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And then we get this text message from my brother, and there's a picture contained with the message, and it's a guy at a slot machine, playing a slot machine with this little tiny dog on his shoulder. Mm-hmm. And it looked like a
It was
butt.
at Harrah's?
It was at
Harrah's. Because they allow dogs at the hotel at least.
Yeah, they allow dogs in the hotel. It looked like a mutt, but it was a little tiny thing, like a little toy dog, right? Just sitting on his shoulder. So he just sends that picture and says something like, we're not doing so well tonight or something, but here's this picture.
Yeah.
And my wife takes one look at it and says, oh, he's probably a pirate who's got a bird allergy. And so the funny thing is we laughed all day Sunday on Father's Day about that because, and just her saying, oh, he's a pirate with a bird allergy. We laughed and laughed. So here's this little stupid casino thing. But we got so much enjoyment out of it. And especially in the evening when my youngest daughter walked into the living room, me, my wife, and my older daughter are watching TV. She's got our little dog perched on her shoulder. And she walks in and she says, look at me. I'm allergic to pirates.
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
She's allergic to pirates.
What does that? Doesn't make any sense.
She got a little confused about the bird and the pirate.
It makes no sense. I mean, I'm laughing at it too, but it makes no sense.
We laughed for so long. So thank God that guy had the smarts to bring his dog and then perch it on his shoulder.
Yeah,
he was actively playing the machine.
Yeah.
Mark has this picture. You put it on the web page.
Okay, I'll put it in with the show notes.
The guy's actually, you can see him hitting the buttons on the slot machine, and the dog's just turned around looking at my brother snapping the picture.
But he's got his head away from.
Now he might have been a service dog. He was probably a service dog.
I've got service dogs.
And he has to be trained really well to perch on the shoulder.
I'll tell you, to be a service dog, you have to be certified as a So many people say, "Oh, this is my service dog." Yeah. Every pet dog in the world is a service dog, right?
Yeah.
Because it calms you down.
Not my two dogs. They don't serve us at all.
My wife volunteers at an animal shelter, and there are people. Oh, this is my service dog. There's nothing wrong with the person other than they really like having the dog with them the whole time, and that's great.
Yeah.
But it's not really a service dog, right?
No.
You can't bring it into a restaurant or the grocery store.
I love our dogs, but I would not want either one of them perched on my shoulder during a craft session.
Yeah.
Right? That would be a little too much work. Especially the Great Dane.
Ow.
Everyone's kind of like,
give me a two-way world. Ow.
This is scary.
All right, thanks for listening.
Good night.